Hi, good afternoon. This is video log 167, and it's around 12-ish. I've been busy as usual, and I've been looking at like different sources pertaining to my energy levels because it's been pretty low. Of course, I mean you would expect that during the winter, of course, because vitamin D levels can be pretty low even with supplements and whatnot, and it's hard to go outside at times, especially in Chicago when it's constantly cloudy and it's cloudy and cold, and sometimes there may be a polar vortex and you'll be stuck inside for more than a few days and whatnot, depending on how long it is. But wind chills can go down to -40. I've heard they can even go down to -80 at times, so it's pretty brutal over here during the winter. So I've been looking at different ways in which I can enhance my energy levels aside from vitamin D. Of course, you'd look at testosterone as a guy, right? Going to the gym and doing high intensity interval training and whatnot. And I wrote some notes on how to keep my testosterone levels relatively high because, guys are meant to have decently high testosterone levels, and they should utilize those capabilities. So they tend to be more active and quote unquote masculine as opposed to being passive and uh, not really being active, right? And so, one of them's obviously hit. I used to do intermittent fasting, and that actually made me feel good. I think the reason why that I think my testosterone levels were pretty low during the summer because I was going through a lot of stress. I wasn't really concerned about my own health, and aside from that, wasn't focused on my diet and just a lot of distractions, so I couldn't really focus on my health as much as I'd like to focus on making money, I guess. So, I mean, during periods like that, it can be hard to find ways in which you can keep yourself at maximal health and whatnot. But for the time being, I don't really have a lot going on, and, I have my projects here and there, and I'd like to keep my mind focused. And, when you have increased testosterone levels, your mind tends to be sharper. You can focus and concentrate for longer periods of time. And I realize my mind has been relatively scattered. So that's part of the reason why. And part of it, I think, I would have to go to the doctor for that. I had to go to my primary care physician to do blood tests to see if there's anything wonky about my quote-unquote body stats. I say that because I don't know all of them. So, I mean, generally I'm pretty healthy. Like, I eat healthily. I think I want to implement intermittent fasting again because I felt pretty damn good. And I used to do cold therapy, and my sleeping schedule has been pretty bad. So I may go back to like a 10 to 6 thing, and I may avoid coffee until 11 because usually my intermittent fasting periods were between 11 and 7. It would be 8 and 16 for me. That's what I did, and it worked pretty well. It kept my mind clear, and I could focus for long periods of time, and I was calmer, and I wasn't as ecstatic, and I wasn't going through these mood dips and these peaks and troughs as much. I mean, I think it was minimized. It was still there, but yeah. So, I mean, there's time for everything. So I'd rather keep myself stable because I'm in a weird place right now. So yeah, aside from that, avoiding sugars is good, I heard, and consuming cholesterol and healthy fats. Obviously, I said minimizing stress, sleeping well, having a good diet. Like the keto, primarily proteins, and avoiding sugars and starches. And what else? I've heard there were some other ones too. I guess being around people too tends to be, just practicing socializing and. Well, that's mainly just being generally healthy. I don't know if socializing would affect your T levels. That's just I don't know how that affects. I don't think that would affect testosterone. Of course, having sex and whatnot is something that affects testosterone levels. And let me see if there's anything else that I wrote some. I was looking at videos on that, and I was also looking at videos about technical writing because I want to kind of focus on, that aside from sharpening my skill set. I think technical writing would be a good place for me to be in within the next couple of months. I talked about this earlier, and I haven't been thinking about it as much as I did last month. So I'm going to be looking around for technical writing stuff, and Of course, for me, it would be physics and computer science stuff. Um, and I was looking at a video on that, and there's this software called Dido, which stands for, what is that? Is it Darwin Information Typing Architecture? So it's a software that you can download on Windows to template, or it's a information typing software. So I guess you could probably like type things out and then use XML and Markdown to make it look presentable, and then it can be transferred into a PDF or some other format. I guess you can have it on. You can have it in Markdown too if you want to do that. And there are different ways in which you want to create some kind of visualization. Information visualization is also very important in technical writing, and I guess Adobe Create, is it called Create or Creative, would be a good software for that. So you'd probably be using those two in tandem for technical writing, especially in 2020. Well, especially now since we're in the 2020s, I would say, because AI has been around for a while at this point. It's good to know a slew of artificial tools, artificial intelligence, AI tools. And so I was looking at that, and there's ChatGPT, Perplexity, and there was a whole slew of other tools that other people use. Copilot is Copilot. I think that's mainly used for software engineering. But there were other ones too that people like. I guess Grammarly is also another one, just to make sure your grammar is okay, and you can have that as an assistant while you're writing, so you're doing everything right with punctuation. You want it to be formal because it's technical writing, right? It could be something like, it could be an instruction manual. It could be something pertaining to just learning a new piece of software. It could be for APIs in the software engineering realm. It could be for a lot of things, but technical writing is good for somebody that has a pretty good WPM and is relatively interested in learning new things and being able to share them in a very simplified manner. And it's mainly meant for introverts as well, because you're typing things out as opposed to sharing it verbally. So I think that would be a good area to focus on for the year of 2025 while I'm working on my more technical projects. Both of them are technical, but like actual hard skills projects. Like learning a programming language, or making a project around a game, or for me it's going to be SDL2, and focusing on computer architecture and just learning more about that and computers in general, and just understanding the whole picture, because my brain likes having the whole picture in its mind. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of that mainly, and so I was looking at that, and what else was I writing on? I guess I was looking at of course, because since I'm looking for a job, I was also looking at different ways to optimize looking for a job, and other ways in which I haven't optimized. I have my alerts on and all that, and I look at basically all the acronyms, but I don't use the Google search engine as much. So you could actually probably find niche job boards that way. I heard from somebody, and it's obviously logical to do that, because you just never know, right? It's good to hit those niche job boards just in case, to get the whole picture and to make sure you're getting all the edge cases, because I don't think Indeed and ZipRecruiter can parse through all that information. So that's also a good idea. And then I was looking at other remote work websites just in case, and I've been slowly modifying my profiles and all that. I should be working on that a little bit more in the morning, especially when I'm more incentivized to do more chore-like things. So I think I'll be doing that more throughout this month, and probably the beginning of next month as well. But I want to get a job pretty soon, and I have my part job. It's still in the back burner. The status on that, I checked on the website last night, and it's still under interview. That's the status for it. So they're still processing the interview I had with him a month and a half ago. Did I mention that? Maybe I did. I don't know. Like finding recruiters to network with as well, and you could do that through LinkedIn, or just being generally social and making friends, and potentially having the luck to find a recruiter in a field that you're interested in. There's always a way in which that could happen, and that's obviously, but that's for more technical things. I'm not looking for something technical right now, because I have nothing in my portfolio to really show off, so I can't really do much about that. The only thing I can do is pivoting more laterally to something that could potentially pay me more, aside from working for the park district. And that could be, even though I don't have a full bachelor's degree, that's why I'm looking at more of the low-hanging fruits like technical writing, because they are not necessarily, they are interested in it, but you can slide by without a bachelor's degree, I believe. So that obviously depends on the employer and everything, and your skill sets, and being able to at least show some kind of promising aspects. And I think, what was I saying? A thought just slipped my head. Oh, that's annoying. So yeah, I was looking at that, and what was I going to say? There was another thing I was thinking about. Why did I had it in my working memory because I knew I was going to say it later, and it just came. I just had other things stacked on top of it, and my brain just forgot for some reason. Okay, that's annoying. Anyways, so I talked about that, and I don't have the socials other than LinkedIn and all that, so maybe I'll get an IG and whatnot, so potentially. And referrals, of course. That's still through the through the process of expanding your network and everything. So, of course, man, what was the other thing I was thinking about? There's something else. It was something to do with the recruiter thing. Or technically, moving laterally and whatnot. Oh well, it's whatever. That's gonna annoy me. I don't like having. I hate it when my brain forgets thoughts that are on the stack. I say on the stack isn't my thought stack because, when you're communicating with somebody and you have a thought coming in while you're talking about something else, and then you can't say it yet until you get those thoughts out of your head before you can get to that thought. I guess maybe it just took me too long to say it, so it just left my brain. That was like, what? That doesn't happen too often, though. Is that concerning? I don't know. I think it's pretty normal. So I was looking at, avoiding processed foods. I'm talking about testosterone levels, and I was also looking at things called neurogenesis. I used to kind of be interested in that because, again, like I like having optimal brain functioning for the most part. There are things you can't avoid, like if you are genetically predisposed to depression. That's a big one for me, I think, because I tend to have my mood dips at times, and I'm pretty monotone. I don't really have energy. Like right now, like I wouldn't say this is more of like a really bad depressive episode, but I'm still very monotone. I don't have like the emotional aspect. There's like an emptiness right here. I can still function. It's just like there's not much excitement, And it is what it is. I can still use the logical side of my brain and get through these phases without necessarily being excited about it, but it's something I have to do, right? That I don't know. It's not as bad, though. It's just kind of there. Maybe it's because I'm in front of the camera and whatnot, but I'm trying to seem more formal, I guess. And, anyways, so what was I saying? That was another tangent. I was talking about good sleep and, avoiding processed foods as usual, cholesterol, the high-intensity interval training, HIIT. For me, it would be cardio-focused because I don't have a gym that I'm going to, most likely, so I'll probably do, either... I'm not sure if fast walking would be enough. I don't think it is, so you'd have to do at least jogging to close to sprinting. So if you really want to maximize HIIT for your testosterone levels. And, avoiding endocrine disrupting chemicals. I've heard of that before, I just didn't know what it was. And avoiding plastics and BPA-free products. I don't know what BPA is, so I had to look at that as well. I have quite a bit of things that I'm looking at. This pen doesn't work. Does this pen work? No, this pen doesn't work either. Not working pens do I have here? I think this was the one that I was using earlier, so this one should work. BPA, yeah. I don't know what that is. And they had something called ashwagandha, which I've heard of before too, and I'm not sure if I can really use the money that I have now to get ashwagandha. At least I'm kind of I have a bit of a budget. It's so it's just something that I have to be considerate of, thoughtful of. There's another So yeah, and then zinc, of course, zinc and magnesium. I think they say the recommended amount is 25 milligrams. But I think you get zinc and magnesium from vegetables as well. So I think I'm hitting that 25 milligram mark. But when I look at my Kroger, it's kind of like the market pantry or the cheap brand of products that Kroger offers in the Kroger grocery stores, and that gives me 11 milligrams of zinc. But I'm not gonna I don't really think I have to worry about that until I go to a doctor. And and I think I mentioned intermittent fasting, and I want to start doing that again because I had like an 11 to 7 window for that. They say 16 hours is good enough for intermittent fasting for not eating, and I probably would avoid coffee and just wait until 11 to start drinking coffee and all that stuff. And I can function without it, obviously, like anybody else. You don't need coffee in the morning. I enjoy it, and I enjoy getting up to it, but I don't necessarily have to. I'll probably get up to going a walk or washing my face and going to walk, and then after my walk, going checking my emails and doing casual things until I have to be a little bit more focused, which will be probably after I have my breakfast and coffee and whatnot. So yeah, I mean that's just me being very systematized, as usual. I like my systems. I can be very systematized when I have to be. It's just all the time I'm more passive. But I can be systematized when I have to be, like I said. Yeah, so I was also looking at random thing. I used to look at this guy, I forgot his name, but he was on YouTube, and it's something called neurogenesis, basically maximizing the gray matter in your brain to a degree. To keep your brain at high functioning capacity, and cold therapy is really good. Taking cold showers is good for that, apparently. And basically everything that involves testosterone translates to that as well, with what I've seen at least. And then there were a couple of other things like cod oil, fish cod oil. I have fish cod oil, but I think I have fish oil, which is omega-3, I believe, and I get plenty of that. So I mean, berries, of course, just like standard stuff. I think there are probably other things that you could do to really to marginally increase it, but there's a given point. There's a plateau period, right, or section where you don't really have to worry about it as much. It's like, okay, there's a certain point where it's negligible, right? So I think I'm basically at that state for the most part. I'm pretty stable, and my sometimes my brain gets a little bit scattered, like it just happened when I was just talking about the recruiter stuff, and yeah, so. Yeah, I mean, my brain, I mean, usually I can be extremely logical in these days, but then at the same time, it's hard for me to brainstorm and be creative because just, that's, you feel disconnected from that receptor, I guess would be a good way to say it. But, it is what it is, and you can't always be like that, right? What they call it, creative block or writer's block is very common, and I think I'm going through another state like that, which is cool. I mean, I still have a lot of things I need to do anyways, so. Yeah. I don't know, I'm a big fan of the whole self-improvement spiel when you have a good reason to do it at the very least, and I think I do. Yeah. I'm probably going to look back at this video and I'm still crossing sleepy in my head. It's wondering, it's like, what did I miss there? So... Yeah, seems like a good tactic, and I'll look at technical writing stuff some more, and I'm going to look at a bunch of AI tools today, and I'm going to work on the menu stuff today as well, and I still have to get rid of my bike, and what else do I need to do for technical writing other than looking at tools? I'm hoping to get my other monitor so I can test the monitor here, which is the Dell 22 P2225H. And it seems like there's an issue. It's either a GPU problem or I'm locked out of the monitor for whatever reason. It could be a cord. I don't think it's a cord problem. I'm hoping it's a monitor issue, whatever it is, and whatever reason why I can't select through the preliminary settings that I have to do to use it. I'm hoping it's that and not my GPU, but I can't check it until I get my other monitor, which is supposed to be coming in hopefully the next few days. And I have an HDMI cable coming with that, so I'm hoping it works out so I can at least say that it's not my GPU. Yes, so of course, I'm going to call Dell for that. And once I figure that out, I'm going to ask him what I can do to actually get through or bypass the settings so I can actually start using it. Because it's weird, I never knew monitors could do that, but they do it for Dell apparently. This is my first time ever having a Dell monitor. It's about 25 inches, pretty big, and it's nice having a second monitor when you need one, I guess. And for me, I have a decent reason, for the most part, because I want to start streaming, and maybe I'll enjoy streaming some more and communicating with random people on the internet because I don't go outside as much, and it's a good way to communicate with people when it's cold as hell in Chicago. So we'll see how it goes. Yeah. I don't know what else to say. I mean, I kind of want to start talking about technical writing more, but I think I kind of covered all the bases for the general strategies to potentially maximize my network and whatnot. And yeah, I had to look at XML stuff too. I had to get used to Markdown again and just being familiar with Adobe Create and the other Dyka. I don't even remember. I already forgot it. Dita. Darwin Information Typing Architecture. Dita. It's going to take me a second to put that into my thick skull. Yeah, so... I don't know. I really can't say anything because I've never really thought of these things before, and not really experienced in the domain of e-commerce or just being or finding ways to market myself on the internet in general. So yeah, but it seems like an interesting journey slash potential possibility to explore for a little bit while I'm, when I don't have much going on in my life. Yeah, so yeah, I think that's it. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Bye. Oh shit. I'm not gonna end it.